G'day guys and welcome back to this week's fishing report, where every cast is an adventure. Whether you're a seasoned angler or someone just looking to get into fishing, the fishing report is going to help you catch more fish this weekend. As always, this episode is proudly presented by 7 Seas Apparel. Don't forget to use code REALFISHING10 to save yourself 10% off anything 7 Seas Apparel. Like and subscribe, and let's get into what's been biting around Sydney. Well, out offshore, there's been a really nice bite, particularly around our inshore areas. There's been a strong bites of bonito and mac tuna. They've been schooling up in big schools in big numbers out off the headlands. Whether you're land-based and you're heading along the rocks, or whether you're out on the boat slow trolling some hard bodies, people have been catching some really nice bonito and mac tuna. Along with that, our kingfish have been producing really well, again, around our cliff faces using live baits. Not a lot in regards to using lures and poppers out offshore, more around that live bait as well. Heading back into the estuary, and last week we had some really nice fishing. I went out on the weekend and headed over to Port Hacking. The flats were alive with bait and there was plenty of salmon following them. Wasn't too many flathead or whiting, which was my main target, but there was still schools and schools of salmon, particularly around Gunnamatta Bay, where there was some really nice fish. Paying close attention to where the bait is and actually watching the bait's action was the key for me to be able to be successful on that. Finding out where the bait was and heading over in that direction, casting some Daiwa slippery dogs, have produced some really nice fish over the last week. Also, our flathead have been producing really well over the last couple of months in some great numbers, and they still continue to do that. In the next upcoming months, we have what we call our big flathead season. Around late March, April and May is when we start to see those really big female flathead head up onto the sand flats and go to spawn. Some really good targets, and I might even actually go out and have a fish for them very soon. So that's what's been biting around Sydney. Let's look at what is happening this weekend and where we should be fishing. Now on Saturday we have a south-southwesterly breeze throughout the whole day, shifting between that 15 to 25 k's an hour, and then on Sunday we've got a northerly breeze shifting between that 15 to 25 k's an hour. So heading out offshore for me probably isn't going to be something to do. We've got a 1.5 and a 1.3 swell, so for my boat and its capabilities, it can do that in that sort of conditions, but it's just not comfortable, and there's other fish I want to target it instead. But if you're going to head out offshore, target your kings, slow troll for your mac tuna and bonito, get some live bait or even some squid and go target those fish. You should be in for a nice session. Heading back into the river and talking about what I'm going to be doing this weekend, there's a nice run-in tide in the morning that I'm targeting. Now we've got a new moon phase at the moment and the tides are a lot bigger. This is going to push a lot of water into our system. Again, the last couple of weeks we haven't seen a lot of kingfish around, but I'm predicting this weekend we might see a few nice catches of kingfish, particularly in our rivers. Kings love fast moving water, which is what's happening this weekend. They love a running tide as well. So early morning I might see if there's any surface action for some kingfish around some markers. So whether that be along Port Hacking around Lily Pilly and also further up near Main Bar. If you're in Botany Bay, head to the runways and fish those pressure edges along the runways and you should find some nice kingfish. Also, up in that hub area, the place like the Spit Bridge is really good for that running tide with a strong, fast-flowing current and all the moored boats around the Spit Bridge to target your kingfish. But what I'm actually going to be doing on Saturday and Sunday is actually doing 2 different types of techniques. One, I'm going to go pump for some live nippers. I've been doing a bit of bait fishing on the shallow sand flats using live nippers unweighted to see if I can target particularly our whiting. I'm trying to get that 48, 49 centimeter fish, and again, I've caught them on surface lures, but I really haven't caught them on bait yet, so I'm trying to tick that box as well. So what I'm going to be doing, early morning, pump for some live nippers, but then for the first couple of hours, I'm going to be using my surface lures and targeting that sunrise run-in tide for whiting on surface on Saturday particularly. Once that sunset starts to rise, I'm going to then switch over and start using some bait. Anchor up, throw a bit of burley out and see if we can get a few really nice whiting using some live nippers. On Sunday, my plan is again to use that running tide, but I'm going to change tactics. What I'm going to do is tie on some really, really big soft plastics. Daiwa gars are going to be used this weekend. I'm super excited. Similar to what I said in regards to the report, I'm going to use those Daiwa gars along those shallow sand flats. And what I'm targeting is the big flatheads. things above 75, 80 centimeter flathead, and I'm using really big soft plastics to see if I can catch them on shallow sand flats. Going to be using the drone to see if I can see a few around the Port Hacking region, but the main target is to just cast around and use that huge soft plastic to see if we can catch a really, really big flathead. Super excited to do that on Sunday morning out on the Hacking. Now, again, if you're going to be doing this in other river systems, along Botany Bay, the shallow sand flats along Tower are really good for that same technique. Anchor up, burley up, and drop your live nippers into the current, and you should be able to be in some success for whiting. Also, outside the Sailing Boat Club, the St George Sailing Boat Club, there at Captain Cook Bridge is another really good one, particularly for land-based fishers. Along that sand flat there, you can 1, pump for nymphus, and 2, use that sand flat to target your whiting. Also, if you're looking to target those big flathead, again, those similar sand flats that you're targeting whiting on is where you're going to target those big flathead. So if you can think of any sand flat that you've targeted whiting over the last summer, the big flathead are going to start to be there as well. And guess what they're going to be eating? Those big whiting. 20, 25 centimeter whiting are their #1 food that they're going to be eating as they head up on those flats. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you go out and have a fish. Leave a comment down below on what you actually plan on doing this weekend. If I see you out there, don't forget to come say hello. I'd love to meet and have a chat with you guys. See you out in the water.